Regina George is the better villain because you really, really despised her. Let's be real. John Tucker is just looking to get laid by as many people as possible. I think that's actually a psychological condition now that I'm saying it out loud.
You should see somebody.
I think there's a series on that called Californication.
There's a counselor for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for that. Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You made it here. You found us. You love romantic comedies. We do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have John... Did you forget the movie?
I don't know why. I just couldn't say it. Like, it wouldn't come out of my mouth. Let's do it again.
Today we have John Tucker Must Die.
We must sound so monotone when we say that. Like when we say the titles, John Tucker Must Die.
Do you like that, RCR fam? Let us know. Maybe we switch up the intros.
I don't know. I just thought of it after.
We haven't switched up an intro in a long time.
Well, I like the intro, but when we say the name of the movie, it just sometimes feel like it's like,
Sarah,
anyway.
Not a fan of our intros.
No, I
Little
do.
Introspective today. I like it.
Introspective.
If you're wherever you're listening to us, if you want to throw us a review, those are so helpful. They help more people find us. And if you want to, deepen this relationship that we have, you want to interact a little bit with us more. We love interacting with you. Most of it happens on our Instagram at Romcom Rewind. Also, we have TikTok. We got a message from Kristen. I have yet to read this. Sarah just told me this is one that I'm going to read to start the pod. Kristen said, hi, Devin and Sarah. Love the podcast. I just started listening about a month and a half ago and have binged probably the majority of the episodes. Kate, can I tell you, that terrifies me.
Why?
Do you remember when we started this like 3.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Do you think we were good at this?
No.
No, okay. Because that's what Kristen's getting right now. She's getting 3.5 years ago.
Well, not anymore.
Well, now she's caught up, so hopefully she's seen some growth.
Yeah.
It always mortifies me when somebody's like, I've been binging you from day one just now, like a week ago. I'm like, holy shit. Please
I know.
Start with a new episode and then go back so you can see.
It's funny because I feel like we also started with My Best Friend's Wedding, and that's like a killer movie. I feel like we need to redo that one. Just because I don't know if we did it true justice.
I think we might go back and redo a couple of
them.
Like I remember we did Hitch. I don't. Was that good? I loved that movie, so I feel like we want to do it justice.
Yeah.
Kristen goes on to say, while I clean, walk my dog, drive to school. Oh, that's where she listens to us. A lot of different places. Thank you. Just wanted to say thank you for being consistent companions in really crazy time in my life. She's finishing her master's degree and applying to school counseling jobs and making me laugh out loud after some hard days of counseling teens, for sure. Yeah, a few suggestions for future episodes. The Duff. We've talked about the Duff a number of times.
Movie.
Something from Tiffany's, When in Rome, and Work It. That's a Netflix
it's a new
dance rom-com with Jordan Fisher and Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, I see why this is for me. Kristen says, P.S. I'm 1,000% with Sarah on her Andy Samberg love.
Whoop, whoop.
I can't explain it. I just think he's the most wonderful.
Yeah.
If you get it, you get it.
Yeah,
and if
you
don't,
you know.
You don't.
Mm-hmm. If you know, you know. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Kristen.
I liked you for so long, Kristen, until the last 25% of that message. You were so close. John Tucker Must Die is a 2006 teen romantic comedy directed by Betty Thomas. This is the story of teenager Kate Spencer, played by Brittany Snow. This is the story of teenager Kate Spencer, played by Brittany Snow. Kate and her mom, Lori, played by Jenny McCarthy. I can't say Brittany Snow. I don't know why.
But you
That's
just did.
Weird. Now I did. Lori, her mom, is played by Jenny McCarthy. They live just outside of Portland, Oregon. They're kind of like nomads. They move around constantly. Lori can't hold down a relationship with a guy. Kate has moved from school to school to school to school. But now she goes to school with John Tucker, played by Jesse Metcalfe. John is your classic. I mean, you're looking at Jesse Metcalfe, you're like, oh, he's the All-American athlete, the basketball stud. Girls love him. Guys want to be him. He's so popular. However, Kate stumbles upon a serious problem, Sarah. she comes to the realization that John Tucker is dating 3 prominent girls at school, at least.
At least.
We learn at the time. He's dating them all at the same time. We have Beth McIntyre, played by Sophia Bush. She's your vegan activist. Carrie Schaefer is played by Ariel Kebble, your overachieving journalist is what we'll call her. And Heather Montgomery, played by Ashanti. She's your head cheerleader. In one cataclysmic moment, all 3 of these girls find out that they're all dating John Tucker, and they decide to take Kate's help in bringing him down and bringing John Tucker to justice. What are your thoughts on John Tucker Must Die?
This story is about John Tucker. He is the man. He lost it to the homecoming queen and the prom queen at the same time.
Ils ont Omar grillé.
You are so sexy when you speak French.
He's got 2 girlfriends. Whoa, scratch that. 3 girlfriends?
Have you ever dated John Tucker?
Hey, he's mine. Stay away from him. I am dating John Tucker.
This guy is cheating on all of you and you're beating each other?
This movie, okay, I had this movie on DVD growing up. I loved this movie. I loved watching it. It's a fun teen rom-com. I mean, like any teen rom-com that's done pretty well, it's so enjoyable. It's a fun watch. It's easy watch. I love, the revenge plot of trying to get him back for what he's done, and the girls, they come together, and poor Brittany Snow's character, she doesn't have any friends, but now she does because she's trying to get back at them. But then, we have the other love interest of Kate. It's a good movie. It's fun. I think the writing was well done. The acting's well done. I will go into it later on how I think it might be similar to a few other rom-coms that I will say. But yeah, overall, happy, fun, go lucky.
I agree. This is just a really fun high school rom-com. There have been, like you said, a lot of comparisons made to other films like this. As it does seem to take some inspiration from some classics. Now, retrospectively, we would call them classics of the same genre, even though they, came out around the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's not much to dislike about this. You kind of know what you're getting. It's high school. There's a bad guy. A ragtag group of unlikely friends band together to take the bad guy down. Shenanigans occur along the way. Can I do my classic Devon food comparison to this one?
I love it, yeah.
And like we talked about, we are going to discuss more the inspiration for this film. But I think this one is a classic. It's your beef and barley stew.
Beef and barley stew.
Here's why, Sarah.
I would love to know.
The whole archetype that we just talked about, the high school rom-com, and you go through all the different... there are a million ways to make a stew. Okay, personally, your guy Devin, I love a Hungarian goulash. That's just stew, though, right? There are so many... you can do... My mom makes an Irish stew. Drive Me Crazy. 10 Things I Hate About You. Clueless. John Tucker Must Die. It's all there are differences and people might like or be inclined to one or the other. But at the same time, we're all just making stew here.
Right.
Not all stew is created equal, but the bolts of it, the core, this is what we're doing with this. It's a high school rom-com and we're kind of going to go through a lot of the same elements. And that doesn't make it any less enjoyable. I love stew, guys. It's delicious.
He loves John Tucker Must Die.
I do. I really, really like this film.
Oh my God.
And I might be, more or less inclined to a Clueless or a Drive Me Crazy, but if you like one of these movies, you're going to like them all. And this is one of them. And it's a very enjoyable watch. It's just fun.
We meet Kate, and she isn't necessarily the most popular kid because she really hasn't stayed in one place long enough to really make friends. She has a hot mom, which they make abundantly clear at the very beginning of the movie. And they move towns a lot because Kate's mom dates a lot of men, but it never works out. And she gets sad, butthurt, and then she moves some towns. Is that?
Butthurts. You heard it here first, folks.
I mean, that's a lot to constantly move a kid because a guy breaks up with you.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I agree. So many emotions in the human vocabulary. Butthurt is exactly what I think Kate Spencer is experiencing in this film. So eloquent, Sarah.
I just think you know what? And I mean, you do what you got to do, but constantly moving your kid, that's got to be rough on them for them to make friends and things like that. And I mean, there's people who move for the military. There's people who move for other reasons. But because you get butthurt because a guy breaks up with you, like, I don't know, is that, I don't know. I just, like, I remember watching it and being like, oh, okay, whatever. But now when I rewatched it, I was like, that sucks, especially during high school. Like, high school's hard as it is. And these are like intense years, core years, where you're moving your kid around because you broke up with a boy. Anyway.
So they do exhibit how, Kate isn't really fitting in through a montage of moments.
They have a montage.
They have a montage. Nobody wants to hang out with her. At one point, they show a kid passing a note to her in class.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, for me? And they're like, no, for the next person. Can we start this pod off with another great, like, things I found on Reddit stories?
Always.
Passing notes in class. Stories off Reddit. Which I realize now, that's from a bygone era. Nobody passes notes anymore because they just text each other instead.
Yeah, they have phones. Yes. Okay, well, before you start this, I will say, did you ever like master the note in class fold?
Oh, those were always so impressive. People would decorate the cover of it.
I could never fold ridiculous. It properly. I could do a cootie catcher, but I could never fold a school note properly.
Cootie catcher is so simple, Sarah. That's not something to brag about. Come on now.
I'm patting myself on the back for that one. Thank you.
So this person says, I'm a student in maybe the 4th or 5th grade. A kid is trying to pass me a note and is caught by the teacher. Now, I wasn't paying attention to where it came from. I only noticed when it was about to be handed to me. The teacher, makes him read the note in front of the class.
Yeah.
He reads the note and it says, "You want to be my boyfriend?" ? I like the way your booty moves when you walk. Stop. Oh yeah, I know, right?
It's because I was gonna say that's pretty normal. Like to see like do you want to be my like boyfriend or girlfriend? Yes or no, and like check it off and then send it back. That was normal. But the booty shaking, that's new.
Yeah. So like it wasn't coming from the guy; it was coming from like another girl. Anyway, so
okay.
This person says that they confront that person after class at her locker, and she says, "Yeah, I did write that note, but I don't like you like that anymore."
Like 30 seconds later,
because it's grade 5, guys,
yeah.
And we're like, it's not that serious.
Oh god!
From the moment class ended to the locker,
yeah.
Decided no, I'm fine. This one says, not a note, but an anonymous question to the class. In health class in freshman year of high school, we had to anonymously write questions about sexuality and the reproductive process.
Okay.
We know exactly where this is going.
Yep.
The teacher would pull out a random card, read the question, and respond with a textbook answer. I was surprised when she pulled out and read a card that said, and I'm going to bleep this, what does the word mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Freshman year of high school.
Holy mackerel.
They probably were watching some Australian television and it popped
God,
up.
I was gonna say because they it's in their vocabulary
quite frequently and
yes.
quite often.
Yeah.
So the teacher looked at the card, looked at us all very calmly, and then proceeded to pull up Wikipedia and other web media to just inform of the origin of the word, its connotation, and how it's used differently around the world.
Yes.
That's probably where the Aussie thing came from.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Questions to ask your teacher. Like maybe, I don't like, as a parent, I would hope my kids would just be like, hey, what does this word mean? Instead of like bringing it up in the middle of a high school class.
Do you think the teacher knew what it meant?
I'm sure they did, but they were also like, how do I address this in a
a school professional way?
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like in broadcast, they always told us like you can talk about whatever you want as long as you use like the anatomically correct, like don't talk about cock on the radio, but you can say penis.
Right.
Penis, that's correct.
Yes.
Even though you might be talking about something that's pretty abrasive.
And you should always use the anatomically correct words for when you're actually talking about the parts.
Yeah. I prefer package though, just because it feels a little bit softer. It feels more eloquent than
little French twist.
Yeah, that's exactly. You know how I like my stupid French accent, you know?
Oh my God.
So we've established that Kate is not well liked, but she ends up in this school.
And it's not because she's not well liked because of anything she did. Just nobody knows her. She's
a
according to
wallflower.
her, a nobody.
Yeah.
So we the next scene is a basketball game, and we get to meet the three girls, the three other main characters of the movie, and we see that John Tucker, the male lead of this movie, interacts with them all.
One thing I love about this film, it's just a small thing they do, and a lot of films do it sometimes, is when they're introducing John Tucker, he's playing basketball, and it's all how great he is. At one point, when they're just talking about him, it's just him looking at the camera and smiling.
Yeah.
A similar thing is done in 500 Days of Summer, where they're like talking about Zooey Deschanel, and like she looks at the camera.
Right.
I think it's very nicely done. It's kind of like breaking the fourth wall a little tiny bit.
Well, 500 Days of Summer was done after this.
500 Days of Summer was inspired by John
No.
Tucker. I'm sure it wasn't.
No, not at all. Like, I don't think there was probably 1 ounce of it, but I'm just saying, like, trying to, the lines of
That might be the one single similarity.
I was going to
between
say
these
that's
two
not,
films.
that maybe Betty did before. Yeah. So we get to meet, the TV reporter, Carrie, the cheerleader, Ashanti, or who's played Heather. I just want to call her Ashanti. And an activist, Beth. So Kate works at a restaurant. That's her part-time job after school. And we see John come in with a date, and it's Carrie, the TV reporter. Then we see after that he comes back with Heather, the lead cheerleader. And then we see afterwards comes back with Beth.
He's dating all three of them.
He's dating all three. He has 3 girlfriends. And his, I guess, mastermind plan, and this is what Kate finds out from a girl who works at the restaurant with her, because she was previously John Tucker's girl, I should say.
Girls is
Yeah, one of the girls. Anyway, she tells Kate that he purposefully dates people in different cliques so that they don't talk to each other, so they can keep it a secret, because he tells the girls that his dad won't let him date during the basketball season.
So we're keeping it hush hush.
And it's something special between the two of us. And we got to keep it, on the DL because whatever. So they go along with it thinking that, during the school day, they can't show their affection for each other, but then at night when they go on dates, they can. But really, he's just dating multiple women. So you can see as the next day at school, he's walking down the hallway and he interacts with all 3 of them, probably in like the student lounge or the student hall. And it's funny. The music choice for this was very apropos because it's Dirty Little Secret.
All American Rejects.
Yes.
Great choice for a soundtrack.
I thought that was perfect because, of course, they all have to keep it a secret, but they all kind of like touch him or give him a little smooch or like give him a cupcake or something like that. I liked that. That was really funny. Then, as John's walking up the stairs, he smiles at one of the coaches from the school, and she is so smitten by him that her acute angina acts up, and she has a heart attack and has to retire early. So the other coach, who coaches one of the other female gym classes, has to take over all of the gym classes. So all of these cliques that were in different gym classes are now coming together for morning gym class.
Dun, dun, dun.
They find out during a game of volleyball that they're all dating John Tucker, and a fight ensues. Ashanti, my God, Heather hits, oh my God, I got to make sure I don't do that all pod. But Heather hits Carrie in the face with a basketball after Carrie says to somebody that she's dating John Tucker, and then she's like, no, he's mine.
That was no accident. He's mine. Stay away from him. What? Oh, girls, peace and love. Come on. No guys are fighting over this. Yeah, right. Fight about John Tucker's mine. What the hell is your problem? I am dating John Tucker.
No, he's mine. They all get detention.
At detention, however, Kate kind of pulls them all together, explains the entire story because she saw it when she was waitressing for them, and they all hatch a plan using Kate as like their lead henchman kind of thing.
The rebellion.
It's a rebellion against John Tucker. We're going to ruin him.
Yeah.
Something important does happen right before this, though. We meet Little Tucker.
The other Tucker.
John Tucker has a brother who's kind of the forgotten guy. He's played by Penn Badgley, which as soon as you see him, you're like, holy shit, I know that guy from somewhere. And I think at this point, I want to play a game with you, Sarah.
Okay.
This film, John Tucker Must Die, is a great story of... It's kind of like the most unlikely Where Are They Now stories.
All right.
So let's play the game. Can you rank for me who's most likely and least likely based on the Where Are They Now scale, if that makes sense? I'm going to go through each of them real quick. Penn Badgley, for example, the second love interest in this movie,
yes,
has now gone on I mean, he was in Easy A.
Yes, he was.
He was in Gossip Girl.
He was very large character in Gossip Girl. Yeah.
And now he's a Netflix star on the series You. Like, is he now the most famous person from this movie? Friggin' Little Tucker.
I would think, honestly, like between... Yes, he's up there as number 1 or 2.
Okay,
I would say yes.
Let's continue on because we've got Jesse Metcalf.
Yeah.
The other, the main Tucker.
Yep.
Was on, what was the Housewives show? Real Housewives of something?
Desperate Housewives.
Oh shit, that's right. He was on Desperate Housewives. Near miss.
It wasn't the Real Housewives, no. The actual TV show, Desperate Housewives, not the reality.
Okay. Dallas, which was a TV series that I guess.
Oh my God, he was on Dallas. Whoa.
Okay.
Yep.
Sarah, what do you think he was on most recently? It was a reality series.
So wait, though, he did do Chesapeake Shores for a really long time too.
Okay.
Yeah, another
got
TV
that.
show.
Most recently, though. He was a contestant on Sarah's favorite show,
Survivor?
The Masked Dancer.
Oh, I hate that show.
Yeah, I know.
It's really weird.
Can we just,
I don't get it.
Can we just agree, if you're on any of those The Masked shows,
Yeah, I know.
maybe things took a turn in your career.
Yeah, I also think like So You Think You Can Dance. Not So You Think You Can Dance. I like that show.
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
I feel like if you hit the Dancing with the Stars, like it's just kind of like you've gone down a step, or plenty, like a few. Like 1 or 2.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we have Penn Badgley doing You, and Jesse Metcalf is like, I'm going to do The Masked Dancer in Britain, by the way. It was in the UK.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You know what, though? I think he's also done some Hallmark stuff, too.
But like, is Jesse Metcalf also rich enough that he's like, I don't really care about this shit anymore.
Yes,
I'll dance with the friggin' costume on.
Did hear he's coming back to TV for something. I don't know what, but yes, he is. But I had no idea he was on The Masked Singer, so that's new.
You know what?
Yeah.
Coming back to TV is my next contestant, Sophia Bush.
Oh, yes.
Of course, a
Love
One
her.
Tree Hill mainstay.
Yeah.
I used to be so obsessed with her. I love Sophia Bush.
I think a lot of people used to be obsessed with her.
God. Then she became a network TV queen.
Yeah.
Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Law and Order SVU. She has a new thing called Good Sam. No idea what that is.
No, that was canceled.
Oh, it's already canceled.
A few episodes.
It was one. I remember seeing the previews on like the select moments I watch cable TV.
You know what? It wasn't good, and I felt really bad for her because she is a really good actress.
Oh, she's great.
And like I think she needs a good TV show. She was phenomenal on Chicago PD, and you know she left for reasons. But
Sarah's dirty little secret, All American Rejects pun, is that she is obsessed with those what I would consider to be very, very bad network TV shows. What were you watching last night?
I was watching The Flash.
Holy shit, The Flash was so bad, guys. The writing on that show is really bad.
Can I just
We're in
like
season 9.
Can I defend myself,
okay,
please?
real quick.
Okay, The Flash, I'm defending myself for this because I have watched up until I just finished season 8 yesterday. I'm on to season 9. I have to finish it. Like I have watched all of the seasons. It's season 9 is the last season. I might as well finish it.
So we're sitting there. I'm watching something else, and I look over at the TV, and I'm like, Sarah, who is that? Is that person holding a violin? And she's like, oh yeah, that's the fiddler. And that's when I'm like, what season of this friggin' show are you on? And she's like, season 9. I'm like, yeah, I can tell because the bad guy is the fiddler. Like, who even is that? We are scraping the bottom of the barrel of this show. And then, key things about The Flash.
Yeah.
There was a character who had blue hair highlights. I'm like, oh, that's a different version of this character, right? And she's like, the third one. And then there's another guy, and she's like, that guy died and came back. I'm like, this show needs to die and not come back because clearly they're out of stuff. They're like, what is happening here? Okay, back to the most unlikely where are they nows.
Yeah.
We did Sophia Bush, Penn Badgley, and Jesse Metcalf. How about a Jenny McCarthy, who was a model? She was in a Scream 3. So it's like not even one of the good Screams anymore. She was in one of the scary movies. She was recently, Sarah, a judge on what show? Ask me the show.
Oh God, what show?
The Masked Singer.
No, stop it.
At least she was a judge, though.
Oh my God.
But still.
It's like they like gave John Tucker Must Die, like all the people from it, a chance to be on The Masked Singer. Like, what an honor.
Well, she's a judge, yeah.
Still.
He was a masked dancer. Then we got Ashante, who, of course, had a very successful singing career.
Yes, she did.
Last album was 2014.
Yeah.
Rumored to be dating Nelly again, though, like as of the recording of this podcast.
That. Yes.
That's what's up with Shanti.
Yeah. You're missing a big one here.
Well, Brittany Snow.
Probably, yeah. She's like 1 or 2 here. She's like
I left her for the end because
Penn here.
she had all of those Pitch Perfect movies.
She did.
She had a few other things, but really,
She did.
she's living off the Pitch Perfect vibes.
I mean, who wouldn't? Those are multi-million-dollar franchise here.
So what do you think is the most unlikely of those stories?
I would say Penn.
Really?
Well, just because like You is such a successful franchise through Netflix. I've never seen it because like if it's a little bit scary, I can't do it. So it's a little bit unlikely for him to what he played in John Tucker Must Die. But his progression of career has been phenomenal.
I would say Jesse Metcalfe is the most unlikeliest because you look at how big he was when this movie came out.
I looked at the positive.
I looked at the negative.
I know you did.
That's very like our characters.
I know it is.
That's very
our characters,
on brand.
our personality, like our, yeah.
I'm looking at Jesse Metcalfe, and in 2006, if you were like, dude, this guy's going to do a British masked dancer show where he's the contestant, I'd be like, what happened to Jesse?
I think around now he was on par with, the Chad Michael Murrays and like those types of big stars around now. And yeah, you're right. I don't think he blew up the way that he could have. I think he kind of settled in with, the Chesapeake Shores and like those long time movies, but on like Lifetime or like, the Women's Network for Canada, like that kind of thing, like those types of roles versus big movie roles. And maybe he just couldn't get them. I don't know why. Or maybe, he had other things that he wanted to do.
It's funny you mentioned Chad Michael Murray because like a lot of the good looking guys of this era, right? They kind of just didn't really, I wouldn't say live up to the hype, but they didn't become like massive movie stars. Zac Efron might be one of the few who's like, oh, you're a good looking kid in like the mid 2000s and then you became a star.
Disney star.
But he started as a Disney star.
Yeah. Like, you look at I think the career, that would be an interesting thing to look at the careers of Disney stars versus like other like
TV stars tended to not be able to, if you were just like the good looking guy, like this was probably Jesse Metcalfe's biggest movie role.
Maybe. Yeah, I would think so.
Like Desperate Housewives, was a big deal.
He was in Desperate Housewives. But I will say Chad Michael Murray has come back to TV most recently in a in like one of those primetime dramas. Just let you know, I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
A primetime drama. Like he's with Sophia Bush and they're doing heart surgery and you're like, this is...
No, but there's like, it's a 40-minute drama, on whatever network.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got Penn Badgley, I've got Jesse Metcalfe, but at this point in the story, so the girls have all met at detention, and now they're hatching their plan to...
Get even.
Well, to kill John Tucker.
Not kill John Tucker.
John Tucker must die, Sarah.
No, it's get even with him.
But it says must die, which...
Oh my God.
I always thought was a more salacious title and then you watch it and you're like, nobody's actually going to murder John Tucker here. I thought it would be funny at the end of the movie if he actually did die, but maybe that's a little bit too...
I mean, I feel like if it came out at Halloween and that with that title, people would have been really lunchbag let down with it because like they would have expected something to happen.
I thought it was going to be more of a dark comedy. John Tucker must die. He doesn't actually die, guys. Spoiler
must get even with John Tucker is what it should have been.
Doesn't quite have the same,
No. I wanted to mention one thing, though, that I found very interesting and so true. Kate, during detention, mentions that, does he use pet names for all of you guys? It's so that he won't mix up your names, which, I mean, in his case is genius. Like, you should use pet names so that you don't say the person's name wrong, especially if you're dating multiple people.
I think that's a classic thing that cheaters do, though.
I mean, it's awful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
God,
like, wow,
but it's very smart. Like, doesn't want a relationship, always makes you feel guilty, and she's going through this, and this is kind of why they hatch their plan because they realize, oh my God.
Question for your question:
Okay,
is John Tucker the original, the genesis of the term gaslighter?
Oh
which
my
is
God.
So common nowadays. Oh,
Yes.
This person is gaslighting me.
Definitely a gaslighter, yeah.
Listening to the way John talks to these girls, I'm like, yo, he's a we didn't have a word for it back then, but that's what he's doing.
Right. It's true. It is so true. There's a few times where he like, or like, and like almost inceptions it, right? So that it's the girl's idea that they're not actually like doing whatever or like.
Yeah, isn't that gaslighting? It's
yeah.
But
I'm just like, it's just funny. It's just like, Oh, it's not funny, but I mean, like, yes. So they made it, the girls meet at school the next day to strategize and find out why they liked him. And like you said, they decide that to make him undateable. And this is the first prank, I guess, or how to make him undateable. This is the first of a series of a few that happen within this movie. And it is, he goes on a photo shoot with Beth, and unbeknownst to him, it's actually going to be used as a commercial for genital herpes.
A consistent thing we also see through the movie is that John Tucker is so popular. He has this. Sarah learned this word the other day. John Tucker has the Riz, Sarah.
The Riz. Yeah, I know. I just learned that. I know. I'm such a loser.
But he has so much Riz that he, like everybody, he kind of, at first, you know, the photos of him having genital herpes get out.
He's mortified. He's on a date with another girl at the movie theater, and it comes on the screen.
But then Spin Dr. John Tucker eventually spins it in a way that he's like, I support anybody who has genital herpes, of which I do not have.
And he gets an award.
There's this big school assembly. He gets an award for his passion for the cause. But he does not. He makes it very clear, like, I don't have it, but I support the cause.
Exactly. And they discover never underestimate your opponent. So the next prank that they come up with is to give Heather's mother's estrogen pills, switch them out or add them to his protein powder. And they do that so that he's not as manly anymore. And this was a funny scene.
This was really funny. We get to the basketball game. So he's trying to bulk up. And so he's nailing the protein, which of course now has that estrogen. It all comes to a head at this basketball game where this guy is like hitting him in the chest and he gets really emotional. He's like, first of all, my breasts are like sore. Yeah. And also like, you're so mean. And he just gets very like emotional about it.
Very sensitive.
Very sensitive. Mm-hmm. And he starts crying on the court after he falls, and his coach is like, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm not. Everybody wants so much from me. It's John this, John that. So that we would think would kill his popularity, right?
Yeah, that no guy would want to hang out with him. But no, girls still liked him, and they thought that he was courageous for it.
For showing his emotional side.
Oh my God.
John Tucker.
Yes. All the while, Kate is in chem class, and Scott, so little Tucker or the other Tucker, comes up to Kate and asks her to be her lab partner. And he freaks out, when Kate, touches his hand. And clearly they have a crush on each other. And it's just like this unspoken thing. But this is kind of like what Kate's kind of working on while the other three girls are getting John back. John goes up to the three girls and breaks up with them all.
The breakup happens. Dun, dun, dun.
Says that he needs something deeper and more complex, which I think is hilarious because he is so superficial. And we kind of just don't understand, why this is happening. He just decides to break up with them.
The relationships have run their course, but then all three girls have this ding eureka moment. The real way we can crush John Tucker is by making him fall in love with somebody. He broke up with all three of us, but he has no effing clue.
Yes.
Who Kate is.
We need to break John Tucker's heart.
Brittany Snow is going undercover, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, she agrees reluctantly. And the first step is Kate has to become a cheerleader. So this is when John notices her. John notices Kate and Heather walking down the hallway, and we see the seed planted.
Question.
Not his seed planted. But,
wow. Nobody was thinking it, Sarah.
Yeah, I know.
Until you said it.
I had to say it. Sorry, it was right there.
You were a cheerleader in university, yeah?
I was, yes.
Did you find yourself more noticeable because...
More noticeable? Like, did people notice me?
Do you think guys were like, hey, you're a cheerleader?
Yes.
Okay.
Partially. Yeah, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And they'd see us at the games and stuff, right? Like the football games and the basketball games. So I guess so. I don't know. Yeah.
Are you uncomfortable right now?
I am.
You seem uncomfortable. We can move on if you like, or we can really sit in this uncomfortable space for a little longer. You tell me.
No, I did have a lot of friends from other varsity sports who were guys. So, yeah.
Are you blushing?
No.
Okay, wow.
You're not. It's just an awkward topic, I guess. I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that, I guess.
That was their theory in the movie, and it did work for John Tucker. John Tucker noticed Kate for the only reason that she was a new cheerleader.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case.
Why do you look like you've been scolded? Like, so John sees Kate when she is with Heather, and he kind of mentions to Heather, like, who's that? What's the deal with the new cheerleader girl? He goes up to chat with her. We're trying to, Sarah said it best, plant the seed.
Yes.
With John, though.
Right.
To, hey, who's this girl, Kate? Find out more, John. And all the while, the three girls are like coaching her.
Right. And we do find out that Kate's actually never dated anybody before. And, you know, she's totally not ready for this. She, you know, has to make him chase her. And so in the hallway after, you know, she leaves the bathroom, John asks Kate out on a date. And she does the whole count to 3 rule, which they told her to do. And it makes him crazy because he's like, oh, my God, you just, you know, you just need to go out with me. So,
which I think that's a sales marketing tactic. I'm pretty sure.
God, really?
I'm serious. Yeah, I don't know how this happened. I end up on sales TikTok sometimes, just because like in a previous role I had to work with sales reps a lot.
Right.
But I was not a sales rep myself, so I would watch these sales TikToks and be like, yeah, those guys. But that is a thing where, like, if you give an offer to somebody, you can't be the first person to say anything. Like, if they look at the number and they look at you, you just need to sit there.
So you have to awkwardly sit there.
You need to stare them down until they break, hopefully. Whoever breaks first loses. I don't know. Like, what is sales? It's like bull riding or whatever in Spain.
My God.
It's so strange to me. Anyway.
So in chem class, Scott almost asks Kate out on a date, but all of a sudden all these guys start coming in to the classroom with white roses. And then John goes over the PA system saying, you know, oh, here's my number, let's go out. And so reluctantly, Kate does eventually say yes. But the best line of the whole movie, John runs after Kate in the hallway after he did this whole PA thing and says, did you like the flowers? She said, yeah, if you're into that sort of thing. And he says, oh, okay, because like I didn't get a phone call. And she says, yeah, I didn't have a pen. I love that line. Then she walks away. That's like my favorite line of the entire movie. Just like the delivery of it. So John goes to his brother Scott for help. And Scott tells John, you know what, like, she's not your typical girl that you date. And he lets John in on a few things that Kate loves, which I'm like, dude, like, if you like her, you shouldn't be telling your brother this, man.
Because you know what he's going to do? He's going to try to plant his seed there. We're just making planted seed puns now for the pod.
Totally. For the rest of the pod, yeah.
So he does let John Tucker in on, you know, some of her interests, musical interests as well, which John Tucker is now going to weaponize.
Obviously.
To make Kate fall in love with him.
Yeah, so at the basketball game, he even like stalls the basketball game to the very last second until Kate agrees to go out with him. So yeah, like I said earlier, she reluctantly eventually agrees to go out with the guy. So this isn't like a makeup or like a makeover montage, but the girls do get Kate ready for her date with John. They even equip her with a boob cam so they can watch the whole date happen, which I think is hilarious. They also decide that they're going to, you know, create a heartbreak timeline. So everything's going to happen within this time period. And they're going to basically see how far they can push him at the away game. And then they're going to do the ultimate breakup at John's birthday party afterwards. And they also realize that Kate thinks that she still has to play hard to get, when in fact, like, no, you're God. You are now going on a date with John Tucker. Like, the things have shifted. And again, they realize, like, oh my God, we need to help this poor girl.
She is not ready, hence where the camera comes in. They can watch everything happen.
Right. So at the bonfire on the beach, Kate's, you know, super popular now. Everybody knows her. You know, he's very charming, saying the right things. They're having a really good time. And he asks to drive her home. She fakes having to pee. Is this your best scene?
Almost.
Okay.
Keep going.
So she fakes having to pee and talks to the other girls through the camera, the boob cam, saying like she needs help. She doesn't know what she's doing. So Beth goes in and helps. And this
is now my best
Okay,
scene.
Well then go ahead. Take it away.
So this is going to sound extremely juvenile. But picture 16-year-old Devin watching this movie, already having had a crush on Sophia Bush. I mean, first of all, so she's teaching Kate, Brittany Snow, here's how we're going to kiss.
Yeah. How to kiss. Because the girls never really...
Okay, are you a good kisser?
I don't know. How does anybody know?
Do guys tell you you're a good kisser?
Oh my God, I'm a bad kisser.
Okay, stop.
Yeah,
they do kiss each other. Honestly, the kiss wasn't that like amazing, but just Sophia Bush at times exudes this like. So she's teaching, Kate how to kiss, and then John Tucker comes rolling up to his vehicle, and they're like, "Oh my God!" So Beth needs to get into the back of the vehicle. That's what I actually love about this scene, is that really John Tucker is driving Kate home and Beth is stuck in the back. She's rolling her eyes at comments that John Tucker makes. She even finds a bra in the back and she's like, so annoyed about it. And then she realizes that it's a hemp bra.
Yeah.
Of course, she's like vegan lifestyle. She's like, I'm going to like stuff that in like her pocket or something. And then we get a really intense moment because John gets back to Kate's house and she realizes like, I got to get him out of this vehicle because Beth's stuck in the back. So they, walk to the door. She does like this weird kiss thing. They bonk each other's heads. Yeah. All the while Beth's skirt is stuck on his bumper.
I know. The girl can't catch a break, honestly.
Can't catch a break. She ends up, I think, losing the skirt, right?
Yes, she does, yeah.
Before she gets back with the other girls because the other girls are following along like, okay, if Beth went in there with Kate and John Tucker's in there now, that means Beth must still be in there, so we need to tail them.
Yes. Slut in truck. That's what they say. Another best line of this movie.
And all ends up going well. And Kate actually does end up kissing John Tucker
Well,
here.
yes, and she does, and it's almost like a spark, literally, because the boob cam ends up, like they get caught in sprinklers, and so the boob cam malfunctions and ends up glitching a little bit, and so it creates a spark when Kate kisses John and he's like, and he touches his lips after. He's like, that was electric. Like, he doesn't say that. I said that. But, Kate's got him. So she goes inside and has a conversation with her mom. And like her mom says, be careful because you don't want to get hurt. And she said, you shouldn't be giving me advice because you don't have the best luck with men. And she said, like, don't lose yourself. And she's like, there was nobody to lose in the first place. And I just feel really bad for her, like Kate, because like, she's like, nobody liked me. Nobody knew who I was before this. So she wants to keep it going because she now has friends.
Also, pot meet kettle. Like, don't give me relationship advice, Mom.
Yeah. So the girls are all hanging out at Kate's house and John calls 5 times while they're there. Kate finally picks up and she pretends that she doesn't know who's calling, and he's calling to find out if she's available for Friday night. And she's like, there's this guy that's in this Jeep. Also, dude, don't you know what car he was driving? Like, you were just in it.
You might be able to explain that away, but she does say like we're about to call the cops on. But
she's like,
stalker.
oh my God, this obviously they know that it's John, like obviously. But he starts freaking out and drives off. I just thought that was really funny, and he hangs out really quickly.
Continued mind games with John Tucker.
Yes.
So they do a quick like boat date, but then we get to the away game, and this is when a big part of the movie happens.
The girls tell her that Kate's going to have to push him as far as she can at the hotel. So they come up with this plan where John gets a video chat call from Kate and she's dressed in lingerie and says, I have a gift for you. It's under your bed. So he goes under his bed, pulls it out. It is a lingerie thong for women. Men can wear it too, clearly. Sure. Evidently.
Yeah. And she convinces John to put it on.
She does, yes, and says, come to my bedroom. And he says, oh my God, okay. And she says, no. The coach is outside my door. You have to come outside on the balconies and like come across. Basically like 3 bedrooms. I'm 3 bedrooms down.
She said she counted.
Yes. So he gets dressed in his thong and goes down the 3 bedrooms or go through hotel rooms and goes in, lies on the bed. Nope, it was the coach's room. It was the coach's hotel room, which totally Kate knew. And of course, Kate goes out. Everyone sees him in the hallway. The coach is freaking out, brings him to the basketball coach. He's getting reamed out. And all the while, Kate goes, oh, sorry, I must have counted wrong. I guess it was 4. But again, in true John Tucker fashion, he makes it a thing. He gets all the other men in that high school to wear thongs because he made them cool.
Well, he has this big monologue at practice the next day, and he does wear his thong like high enough, like whale tail style, so that everybody can see it. And he talks about how like, yeah, it feels so comfortable, and it's like a best friend for your best friends.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
It is. Yes. It's breezy like a hammock, and they give you swing.
You know what actually is that?
What?
Ladies, take notes. Sax underwear, S-A-X-X. Your boy Devin, obsessed with them. What John Tucker was saying, Sax isn't even a sponsor of us, but they could be. Like, feel free to sponsor the Rom-Com Rewind podcast. But big fan.
Yeah, so outside, after, the day's done, John runs after Kate and says in the courtyard that she's the one. He gives her something personal, his watch. He tells everyone while they're watching that he is now whipped and asks, will she be his girlfriend?
In front of everybody. This is a new John Tucker. He's not sleuthing around in the shadows in the corners, banging every chick. But he's now established to the school.
Yes.
This is my girl. So we're getting this is new territory for John Tucker.
It is. It's a more complex and deep John Tucker.
Wow. Look at that.
So Kate meets with the girls after and says, I don't know about this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And the girls, you can see, like, we made you. You're who you are today because we made you who you are. And and obviously they still love John Tucker because they start getting into arguments about, he's mine.
He's supposed to be with the head cheerleader, yeah.
And you can tell clearly they're still in love with him and they're just doing this to get back at him. But really they want to push everybody else out of the way so that they can go in.
Sure.
Kate does go home and have a chat with her mom and says, be yourself, show everyone the real Kate. So she goes to John Tucker's birthday party, and before she can come clean, Carrie gives Tommy, John's best friend, a video to be played at his birthday in front of everyone.
And it's basically a slam video against John Tucker that at the end will reveal the fake relationship that Kate was out to get him the entire time. And Kate gets on stage while that video is playing, and she freaks out and unplugs the projector, and then she comes clean, though, to the entire school and to John Tucker. The relationship was fake. I was just trying to date you to break your hearts.
Yeah, and he tells them, you know what? You pulled it off. My heart's broken. And it somehow turns into a big cake fight.
Yeah, it's funny. The crowd turned on Kate because they were like, why are you even on stage kind of thing? And then, we got a little cake fight out of it.
Right. And so the next day at school, Kate talks to John and he tells her, he's going to start telling the truth. And they end on a note of friendship. He does start telling the truth. He brings another girl to one of the other girls that he's dating and says, so-and-so meets so-and-so. I'm dating both of you. And they're just like, what? And he just starts walking down the hallway with them.
What do they call that? John Tucker is now a polygamist?
But in the end, she stays friends with the three girls and gets to be Scott's lab partner again.
And we see a bubbling romance that we're getting teased with.
We do.
We're on to quick facts.
The idea of John Tucker wearing a thong was not in the original script. Originally, Kate talked him into shaving his head. Betty Thomas thought making him wear a thong would be funnier. While the shooting was happening, the extras were taking photos of him with their phones. In the script, the school didn't have a specific mascot, but while on location filming at an actual high school, the movie decided to adopt their mascot, the Kodiaks. The shooting took place during the actual school year in an existing high school, so the crew had to ask students for permission to use and redress their lockers for shooting. Although most of the movie was filmed at practical locations, Kate's bedroom was a set built in the gym of the high school. At one point, the walls fell over while they were filming. Jesse Metcalfe watched teen comedies Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Can't Buy Me Love in order to prepare for his role as John Tucker.
Similarities to Can't Buy Me Love.
Mm-hmm. While shooting, the sound of the extras' flip-flops were extremely distracting. The director made most of them wear and change to tennis shoes instead. Coca-Cola's logo appears in almost every scene.
What? How is that possible?
I don't know. Director Betty Thomas told the cast this movie was a first wives' club for teenagers. Sophia Bush, who plays Beth, decided her character was the Goldie Hawn of the group. Betty Thomas also referred to all the actors by their characters' names since she claimed she couldn't remember their real names and wanted to think of them as their character. Also, her two dogs, Jackie and Rico, were always on set during filming and had to be cut out of several scenes. The crew rented John's boat, called Fast Break, from a local resident. There was a cat that lived on the boat and walked into several shots that had to be edited out. The film was heavily promoted to female teenagers on MySpace, and the studio believed this campaign was successful, as the opening weekend, the audience was 75% female, and 68% of that were under 25. Ariel Kebble improvised the line, "slut in truck," on the spot. Jenny McCarthy plays Brittany Snow's mother, even though the two actresses are only 14 years apart in real life. In the script, the AV room where the girls concoct their plan to destroy John Tucker was referred to the War Room. Ashanti had multiple concerts she had to perform during the making of the movie, while Sophia Bush was also committed to shooting One Tree Hill at the time. Sophia Bush related to her eco-friendly character so much that she ended up buying a hybrid car and investing in energy-saving light bulbs after the movie ended. The women were up until 2 a.m. filming the scene that took place in the boat on the ocean. Sophia Bush said they almost capsized multiple times, and Brittany Snow ended up keeping the flowers from her hair in the boat scene as a memento of the movie. Sophia Bush portrays a high school student in this movie. 4 years before this movie came out, she portrayed a college student in Van Wilder. The scene at the beach was filmed on an overcast day. The sunset is a digital effect. Impressively, every three-pointer shot Jesse Metcalfe, who played John, made was real. No camera, editorial, or digital trickery was used.
That actually is very impressive.
Definitely. Brittany Snow was 20 years old when this movie was released. Kate and Scott make reference to the Cheap Trick song, "I Want You to Want Me," and at the end of the movie, a cover of the song performed by Letters to Cleo can be heard in the background. When the girls go over to Kate's house, in the background, there is a picture of Brittany Snow when she was younger. The four leading ladies became really good friends during the filming process. Basketball tryouts were held to audition extras on the basketball team. Once they were cast, the director had them read lines to try out for speaking roles. The ending was filmed two very different ways, but it was decided to end the movie on a more upbeat note. It took 12 hours to clean up the set afterwards. In the script, Scott and Kate kissed at the end of the movie. However, Betty Thomas felt it wasn't realistic and there was too much kissing in the movie, and changed the scene to a rekindling of a friendship.
Sarah didn't say a best scene.
No, so, okay, quickly, my best scene is all of the pranks. Like, it's almost like a prank montage I want to make. The pranks that they did for him. So like the herpes commercial, the estrogen pills, and the thong. I thought
just a montage. We're going to slam them together.
Yeah, all the pranks.
Love it.
All the ways to take John Tucker down. Yeah.
Honorable mentions. So I would like to honorable mention Devin's biggest crush around this time, Sophia Bush. Loved her. Not even from One Tree Hill. And I have a question for you, Sarah, because we talked about it earlier. You do so much more of this content than me. I thought watching this movie, I'm like, is Sophia Bush the new queen of network TV? And that's when I started to look up, Chicago PD, Chicago, whatever.
Right.
Fire, Med,
yes,
SVU,
yes, all of them, the plethora of them.
Who do you think, I have the list in front of me. She doesn't make the list, by the way.
I was going to say, I don't think she did, unfortunately.
Of highest paid American network TV stars. This is per episode. Numbers.
Not soap opera, right?
Not soap operas.
Okay.
I would say soap operas probably don't even make the list anyway.
Okay, because I was going to say I don't watch soap operas, so I would be out of my league. Out of my realm. Okay, so I'm going to say, it's got to be somebody from Friends.
Well, famously, the main cast of Friends in the last 2 or 3 seasons of the show, they all made $1 million per episode.
So they got to be high up there.
They're just nibbling in the top 10.
Okay, how many do you have here?
Oh, I've got tons. I'm just wondering if you can get any of them.
Anyone from The Big Bang Theory?
Yes, of course. The Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons, Kaylee Cuoco also made $1 million per episode. 900,000 for Simon Helberg and Kunal. Yeah, they're all on the list somewhere.
Any Law and Order?
No, Law and Order.
Wow, okay, because that show has been going on literally longer than The Simpsons.
But that's the
I don't
thing.
actually know that, but I feel like it's as long as that.
It's got to be shows that hit the high. You know,
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Here we go, Sarah. That does make the list.
Breaking Bad.
Game of Thrones. A bunch of them were making $1 million per episode. Wow, Breaking Bad actually doesn't make the list.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I know. Okay, Sarah. There are some such easy ones on here.
Okay, well, just tell me them. Let's go through them.
Well, so number one, Charlie Sheen for 2.5 Men.
Seriously?
He was making 1.8 mil, baby.
No way. That is like atrocious. I am sorry. I am angry about that.
You know, you're going to be more angry about number 2.
Oh my God.
Remember this energy when I tell you that Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond.
He's number 2.
1.72 million per episode.
You know what? Okay,
How is that possible?
You know why? It's because I hate to say this, but it's because they're men. And like the salary difference between men and women. Where is the first woman? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so here's the thing. The first 2 are actually women, but I left them off because it's the morning show on Apple TV Plus. I don't think that counts.
The morning show?
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. It's on a streaming service, you know what I mean? I was more looking at like, give me the CBS's, the NBC's. What is like the... So that's where everybody.
So like
loves
no
Raymond.
Netflix, no like whatever.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Oh God, no! Like I've like.
Okay, Kelsey Grammer from Frasier was making 1.6 million.
I feel
Frasier cream.
Yeah. Okay.
This one might blow your mind.
Anything from Seinfeld?
Jerry Seinfeld was making $1 million per episode for a couple seasons. Just ahead of him though, Tim frickin' Allen.
Oh my God! Wait! Home Improvement?
Yeah. 1.25
oh my God.
mil.
I want to know how much the guy over the fence makes.
Oh, great question. What a fact, Sarah. I don't know, but shit, we should find out. And then, you said Friends, The Sopranos, James Gandolfini was making $1 million. It seems like a lot of them hit the $1 million per episode threshold.
And then that's kind of it, eh? Like it's almost like...
And then it's like, you know, Drew Carey on the Drew Carey show was making 750.
Wow.
Roseanne
I wonder how much he's making on Wheel of Fortune. No, wait, not Wheel of Fortune. The Price is Right.
The Price is Right. You know,
they both have wheels.
God, if you're wondering where Ray Romano is, he was cashing in that Everybody Loves Raymond money, guys. He doesn't need to do shit anymore.
I was going to say, he doesn't need to work. Most of them don't even need to work.
What's your honorable mention?
So I also want to play a game.
Okay.
I want to play a game. We've talked about this before. This movie is very like other classic rom-coms. Now, I want to play a game called Who Did It Better?
Okay.
So who was the better villain? Mm-hmm. Regina George or John Tucker?
Oh, so we're doing the Mean Girls versus John Tucker Must Die
There are
comparison.
several things in this movie that coincide with the Mean Girls movie.
I think Regina George is the better villain because you really, really despised her. Let's be real. John Tucker is just looking to get laid by as many people as possible. I think that's actually a psychological condition now that I'm saying it out loud.
You should see somebody.
I think there's a series on that called Californication.
There's a counselor for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for that. But like, I guess like he doesn't try to be bad, but he falls into his vices and makes bad decisions. Whereas
He has a good heart.
He has a good heart. Whereas Regina George is just out here to scorch the earth.
Yes.
She needs to push everybody down. If you're falling, she's not going to help you. She's going to push you on
You
that
wanted
sword.
her to be hit by a bus.
Yes.
You know?
For sure the better villain.
And yeah, like I will never forget the first time that I had watched Mean Girls and she's walking across the road and the bus comes and hits her. I almost fell off my chair. Like I'm trying to hold in my laughter right now, but I died and then I rewound it like 10 times and rewatched it because I could not handle that Tina Fey wrote that in the script. Like I couldn't handle it. It was the best thing in my entire life. Okay, so who wore it better?
Oh.
Now, this goes with some explanation. Regina George or John Tucker?
Okay.
This goes with the John Tucker wore the thongs and made them popular.
Right.
Regina George, if you recall, Katie went into her gym locker and cut out 2 circular holes out of her t-shirt around the nipple area. And she wore it like that for the rest of the day and made it popular.
And I was going to say, she still made it popular. I'm trying to think of what's harder to recover from. Oh, man. I think John Tucker might have wore it better because he really had to sell it to everybody. Like,
yeah.
It happened, and then he brought it, like, he was like, I'm going to do it in practice tomorrow, too, to make everybody, and then I'm going to monologue about it.
Yeah, because Regina George didn't wear it again, but everyone else wore it the next day.
That's right.
Yes, because if Regina George does it, then I want to be like Regina George.
Whereas John Tucker had to put some thought into, like, here's how I'm going to make everybody realize that I'm the one.
Better sibling, the other Tucker, Scott, or 10 Things I Hate About You, Kat's little sister, Bianca.
Oh, Penn Badgley is way better. Bianca was annoying.
She was annoying.
Also,
she was a brat.
She was a brat. Also, like, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt in everything he does is so lovable and likable. So seeing somebody like take advantage of him a little bit, even though they end up together at the end, I didn't really like that.
And to say this movie also has a few ties with 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie. Now, better rebel, Heath Ledger in 10 Things I Hate About You, or Penn Badgley in, and like rebel more just like against the grain. Penn Badgley in this movie.
No offense to Penn Badgley, but by a mile.
Well, yes.
He's walking across the finish line because he has such a big lead. Heath Ledger as the bad guy, yes.
I mean, like, I don't really, like, it was kind of obvious who was the rebel. Not the bad guy, the rebel.
And I mean, Penn Badgley just didn't have a ton of screen time on this, but like we got this very beautiful character arc too with Heath Ledger in that movie. Yeah, for sure. 10 Things I Hate About You.
And better chemistry class. Now, if you all notice, in 10 Things I Hate About You, there is a chemistry class where Heath Ledger, I don't know, he lights something on fire and whatever. Very similar look to Penn Badgley in John Tucker Must Die, also in chem class.
So, 10 Things I Hate About You, only because, and this moment is seared into my mind. Maybe you listening can remember this moment vividly as well. When it's when Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his friend, they're talking about like who to get to date Julia Stiles, and they're like, what about that guy? And they look over at Heath Ledger, and he's got this massive Zippo lighter, I think, or maybe he's got like a propane tank that's like, and he's like touching the flames, he's like grabbing the flames, and it really like in one searing moment, it exemplifies so much like, what the hell's going on with this guy? Who is this?
This guy's our choice right here.
That guy's wild. And he's staring them down. He's like lighting a cigarette on that open flame in the middle of class.
Dangerous.
For sure. I don't know if it's the better chemistry class, but better moment in a chemistry class.
I also felt like Penn Badgley's character, Scott, kind of also exuded?
Yeah, sure. Exudes
some energy of the brother love interest from Bring It On.
Yes. Okay. He's like
played by Jesse Bradford.
So probably has the jawline of Jesse Bradford with the hair of Heath Ledger is probably what they were going for. What should have been?
My what should have been, I think at the end of the movie, Scott, the other Tucker, should have told Kate that he liked her and actually asked her out. Not just asked her to be his lab partner again. Like, we all know, like, yes, there's some sparks flying, but I just feel like it was a missed opportunity to kind of say, hey, Kate, I've liked you all movie. Like, let's go out on a date and start a real relationship from that point on. I don't know.
I teased my what should have been a little tiny bit. I don't know how it works, but I still think John Tucker should have actually died at some point. Maybe he dies and comes back to life, from a prank that they did.
I mean, if you're going to call it that, you might as well follow through.
He should actually die at some point. I'm not saying he needs to stay dead, but just and maybe it could have been more of like a noir, dark comedy.
An estrogen OD.
That happens. That for sure happens.
No, but something.
Rewatchability.
My rewatchability is as follows. Chemistry 4.2, storyline 3, thirst factor 4.8, imagination 2.5, soundtrack 5, cheese 4 for an overall score of 3.91 out of 5.
We are very close. I've got chemistry 3.4, storyline 3.8, thirst factor 4.8, of course, Jesse Metcalfe, Sophia Bush. Imagination a 3, soundtrack a 4.5, All-American Rejects, Dirty Little Secrets, let's go. Cheese a 3.5. I've got an overall score of 3.83.
Oh, very close.
Out of 5.
Yes.
Very, very close. This is an extremely fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been the Rom-Com Rewind of John Tucker Must Die. If you've heard anything on this pod, even while we were chatting, I saw we got a DM, somebody complaining about something that I said on one of the podcasts, which I love, honestly. Like, please do. If you hear anything, there's going to be no hard feelings. If you're like, I totally disagree with what you just said, Devin, It's just opinions. We're just talking about rom-coms. We're having a good time. So please share your opinions with us if you want on Instagram.
We love chatting with you guys.
Absolutely. It's all good vibes here at Romcom Rewind.
Thanks for listening.